The man accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk was being held Friday at the Utah County Jail. According to Associated Press, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was arrested on suspicion of aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily harm, and obstruction of justice charges, according to a court affidavit. The Associated Press reporter Eric Tucker explains the update of Charlie Kirk's shooting in Utah. Federal local authorities laid out a series of evidence that they say connects Mr. Robinson to the crime. That includes engravings found on bullet casings that were in the rifle. That's believed to have been used in the attack, said Tucker. They also cite information from people close to Robinson that he had become more political in the run-up to the killing, and that he had expressed a distaste for Charlie Kirk's political viewpoints, added Tucker. A judge ordered that he be held without bail. Formal charges are expected to be released early next week.
Authorities have made an arrest in the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. They've identified the gunman as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
At a news conference, law enforcement officials described multiple pieces of evidence that they say connect Mr. Robinson to the killing. One of those pieces of evidence happens to be engravings on bullet casings that the authorities found in a rifle that they believe was used in the shooting. Another piece of evidence relates to messages that were on a chatting app that a roommate shared with law enforcement. It's also worth noting that it was the father of the shooter who played a significant role in bringing him to the attention of law enforcement and in helping facilitate an arrest. Robinson is currently being held, and we expect to learn even more details and additional charges potentially when he appears in court next week.
President Donald Trump said Friday, with a high degree of certainty, that the suspect in the Charlie Kirk killing has been caught. Federal investigators and state officials on Thursday had released photos and a video of the person they believe is responsible. Kirk was shot as he spoke to a crowd gathered in a courtyard at Utah Valley University in Orem. More than 7,000 leads and tips had poured in, officials said. Authorities have yet to publicly name the suspect or cite a motive in the killing, the latest act of political violence to convulse the United States. A Mauser .30 caliber, bolt-action rifle was found in a towel in the woods. A spent cartridge was recovered from the chamber, and 3 other rounds were loaded in the magazine, according to information circulated among law enforcement and described to the Associated Press.
With a high degree of certainty, we have him. In custody, right? In custody, everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor, everybody did a great job. You know, getting somebody that you start off with absolutely nothing. And we started off with a clip that made him look like an ant that was almost useless. We just saw there was somebody up there. And so much work has been done over the last 2.5 days. You know, it's amazing, actually, when you start off with that and then all of a sudden you get lucky or talent or whatever it is. And somebody that was very close to him said, that's him. And essentially went to the father, went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister. And brought him to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it.
President Donald Trump says his patience with Russian President Vladimir Putin is running out fast, days after Russian drones breached Polish airspace in an act of provocation. Speaking to Fox News, the U.S. president said, "It's sort of running out and running out fast." The president has given Putin several deadlines to take steps to end the three-year conflict, but so far has not imposed sanctions or other penalties on Moscow. Trump met with his Russian counterpart for peace talks in Alaska last month, which failed to produce an agreement.
So has your patience run out with Putin?
Yeah, it's sort of running out and running out fast, but it does take two to tango. It's amazing. When Putin wants to do it, Zelensky didn't. When Zelensky wanted to do it, Putin did. Now Zelensky wants to, and Putin is a question mark. But we're going to have to come down very, very strong. It's the only one. This is the one, because I've always had a great relationship with Putin. This is the only war that I haven't solved. Now, let's get into Gaza, because that's another one. So those are two that are. Before you move on, can I ask you, what is clamping down on Vladimir Putin? Well, it'll be hitting very hard with sanctions to banks and having to do with oil and tariffs also. But I've already done it. I've done a lot. Look, India was their biggest customer. I put a 50% tariff on India because they're buying oil from Russia. That's not an easy thing to do. That's a big deal.
Dozens of men were reported to be detained on Thursday in the West Bank, following an attack that left 2 Israeli soldiers operating in the area slightly injured. According to Associated Press, residents of Tulkarem in the occupied West Bank said that the army detained dozens who were taken for questioning, and some were later released. The Israeli military did not comment on the detentions. Earlier on Thursday, the army said 2 soldiers were slightly injured when their armored vehicle was struck by an explosive device near the northern West Bank city of Tulkarem. The army said troops were encircling the city and setting up roadblocks. Hamas and the smaller Islamic Jihad group claimed responsibility for the explosion. Hamas-led militants stormed into southern Israel on October 7, 2023, abducting 251 people and killing some 1,200, mostly civilians. 48 hostages are still held inside Gaza, around 20 of them believed to be alive. Israel's retaliatory offensive has killed more than 64,700 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry. The ministry does not say how many were civilians or combatants, but says women and children make up around half the dead.
أنا هبقى أطلع على الأرض.